The Clippers could be the beneficiaries of an NBA blockbuster trade that they weren't in. The Dodgers fall into third place after getting swept by their bitterest rival, and Carlos Vela spoke the word that should send shivers down the spines of LAFC supporters. Retirement. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is June 19th, 2023. Yesterday, spent time with the wife. We went to see the U.S. Men's soccer team. They won some cup that CONCACAF offers. CONCACAF has way too many tournaments. Let's just be real. I don't even remember what the hell they won. They just won. We were all happy. So let's focus back on what matters, LA sports. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comments. I like hearing from you guys. Now, before we go through the news and notes, a look at the scoreboard. Freddie Freeman, look, he doubles, he scores, and the Giants beat the Dodgers again. 7-3. It is the first time the Giants have swept a 3-game series in Los Angeles since 2012. We're talking Barack Obama versus Mitt Romney time, right? That is a long time ago. We're going to talk a lot more about the Dodgers in just a moment. Meanwhile, Nneka Ogwumike scored 19 points with 15 rebounds, but the Sparks fall below 500. Connecticut 83, Sparks 74. Meanwhile, today, nothing. Sleep off your hangover. I'm sure your boss will understand. It seems like only yesterday I was telling you about all these scribes who were reporting on how the Lakers were all in trying to go get Chris Paul if he gets released by Phoenix. And that's because it was only yesterday. However, Paul and his contract, they're not going to be Phoenix's problem for that much longer. That's because there was this blockbuster trade yesterday, not official yet, where Washington acquired Paul along with another player and a slew of draft picks that are totally inconsequential from Phoenix in exchange for Bradley Beal. The trade is not official yet. The reason it's not official is Washington is trying to add a third team so that they could spin Paul off into something else, another asset or two. Now, the thought process we laid out from NBA beat writers yesterday was that the Suns wanted to cut Paul. He's 38 years old. Yeah, he's a sure-time Hall of Famer, but again, 38 years old and injury prone. Had they cut Paul, they would have still been on the hook for about $16 million of Paul's salary. The Lakers, therefore, could have theoretically signed Paul for the league minimum, and Paul would have still gotten the $16 million from Phoenix. It's less than 24 hours later. All that chatter, gone. Like that puff of smoke from my wife's joint. It's gone. Chris Haynes of the Belcher Report is now writing that Paul is likely to be flipped to the Clippers. And we'll get to that, break it down in a moment. There's no way Paul wants to spend the twilight of his career on a team that's in full rebuild mode, like the Washington Wizards. He's not stupid. He knows he's old. He does those State Farm commercials. He looks at the kid next to him and goes, dude, I'm twice your age. What the hell's going on? Paul is in ring chase mode. And by the way, he never wanted out of Phoenix because Phoenix gets him closer to a ring than Washington ever would, right? So how do the Clippers fit? Honestly, how do they fit? Kind of like that. Look, they want to. They do. Because they know the odds of keeping Russell Westbrook, it doesn't make financial sense to Westbrook. You're asking Russell Westbrook, who made $45 million last year, to play for barely above the league minimum now to fit him in. So there was also a critique inside the front office that the team didn't compete hard enough last year. And there's one thing that Chris Paul, his entire career hangs on, is how hard the man competes. If you recall, though, the president of all three Washington professional basketball teams, the Wizards, The Mystics of the WNBA, a G League team. It's Michael Winger, the former assistant GM for the Clippers. So that's the reason that you're getting all these stories now linking Chris Paul to the Clippers. Former Clipper GM with Washington, knows people on the Clippers, wants to deal Chris Paul. The Clippers want Chris Paul. Bingo. That's how rumors get put together. But does it make sense? Possibly. They could make it happen in the sense that they have a lot of guys on contracts who make about $8 to $10 million a year. You cobble 2-3 of them together, yes, you could match Chris Paul's salary. But that is assuming a few things. One, did Winger leave the Clippers on good terms? We don't know what he thinks about the Clippers. We just know he left. He didn't say anything, plus or minus, so we don't know. Would Winger want, say, Eric Gordon straight up for Chris Paul? Would he? People who cover the Clippers say they would not expect the Clippers to include the following players in a trade to Washington. You could already obviously cross off Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. That's obvious. Players that they would not include in such a trade, theoretically, Norman Powell, Nicholas Batum, Terrence Mann, and Ivica Zubac. So that boxes you in, does it not? I've literally crossed 6 players off the list. Would Winger want something like, say, Marcus Morris and Robert Covington for Chris Paul? Would he? I don't know. I'm not saying plus or minus. Look, the Wizards didn't get back much of anything for Bradley Beal in the first place. Maybe this guy's just going all in full tank mode and will accept, the garbage in the back of Crypto.com arena for Chris Paul. We don't know. Washington, by the way, too, they could cut him and be on the hook for the remainder of his contract. That would bring the Lakers back in. Look, everything regarding Chris Paul right now is wild-ass conjecture. Wild-ass conjecture. I've been saying that pretty much all along. Even yesterday when I was talking about the idea of Chris Paul to the Lakers, there was a little bit of wild-ass conjecture with that. ESPN's Brian Windbag went on one of those Sportswriter gossip shows to talk up the Clippers even if the Wizards cut Chris Paul. And like everything else that tub of goo talks about, he never mentions a single source, ever. Never adds a source. So it is all wild-ass speculation. The Clippers may be the front runners for Chris Paul. Maybe. Yesterday, one of the greatest bench players in the NBA has called it a career. Lou Williams played for 17 years, including time with both the Lakers and the Clippers. He has the most points off the bench in NBA history. Played for 6 teams, by the way. Smooth as hell. Loved watching him play. Instant offense, no matter where he suited up. His daughter created this cute little retirement clip for him that he posted to social media on Father's Day. It was all very heartwarming. Everybody loves Lou Williams. And of course, one of the reasons people love Lou Williams is because he escaped the Orlando COVID bubble to go to an Atlanta strip club. So that's great. And hey, props to you, man. We were all triple masking and you were getting your freak on in a strip club. I respect you for that. And then, of course, when he got caught, he claimed that he went there because the food was good. Sure. I'd go to Hooters for the hot wings. Sure. But hey, enjoy your retirement. Have them pay, your retirement fund in singles. Enjoy your time over at the Spearmint Rhino. By the way, less than a minute ago to let you guys know, Draymond Green has declined his option. He will become an unrestricted free agent. He turned down $27.5 million. And yes, I bring that up because he has said repeatedly, or he has let it be known allegedly, that he would like to come to LA. I get random private messages from people who thinks that the Dodgers getting swept by the Giants was from the hand of God. The whole Pride Night thing. And I've kept out of that shouting match for a variety of reasons. But I have to tell you, in order for you to argue that, You would also have to argue that San Francisco has come to your way of thinking, right? In other words, you would be arguing that San Francisco no longer has a pride parade, a pride night, that they're no longer welcoming to the LGTBQ community. You're telling me that's San Francisco now, in so many words. Far be it from me to put words in God's mouth. I believe in God, pray to him every day. But I would suggest, even though I don't know what he thinks, I would suggest he has bigger fish to fry than baseball games. God does not care that much at all, if at all, about whether my team wins or loses. And besides, I would add something a little more to that. The slump the Dodgers are on has been for the entire month of June and beyond. They are 5-10 in June. They are 12-18 over their last 30 games. So maybe instead of talking about the Sisters of Perpetual whatever, maybe we should just focus on the field instead, particularly the pitching. The sweep against the Giants was absolutely decisive. The Giants outscored them 29-8. It got so weird that Dave Roberts was talking all weekend about how you don't have to panic, right? And then he asked the batter to drop a sacrifice bunt. The Dodgers haven't done that all year long. So maybe even Dave Roberts is kind of feeling it a little bit. Simply put, the Dodgers are injured and they're playing poor baseball. Their bullpen stinks. It has an ERA over 5. There are 2 rookies in the starting rotation. Tony Gonsolin's outing yesterday was the worst in his career. 7 runs, 5 2/3 innings. The LA Times noted that this is probably the worst pitching the Dodgers have had since they've moved to LA. They led the majors in ERA for the last 4 seasons. Now they're 25th. They're 25th. So it's not whether or not the Dodgers organization is an ally of the LGTBQ, et cetera, community. They can't pitch. It's just that simple. They can't pitch. So what I'm also going to tell you is this. We're not even at the halfway point of the season. The Dodgers are 4 games out of first place. It can be salvaged. Relax. Enjoy the day off. We spoke at length about Chris Paul being in the twilight of his career. Father Time also goes after soccer players. LAFC, they had been shut out in 4 consecutive matches before that 2-1 win. Carlos Vela, the first player the club ever added that had a name to him. He won an MVP award in 2019, but he's 34 now. Is he really the striker that he was? Right? So he said that the scoring slump that LAFC was on made him wonder about how close he is to retiring. Quote, a day like today, like you come in the second half, you score a goal, it makes you feel like, okay, I can still play a couple more years. But after you lose, you say, maybe I have to retire soon. This changes a lot, but I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I enjoy what I am, and it's important for me. Okay, so again, Carlos Vela's in the last year of his designated player deal. He's 34, and now he's starting to hint at when he has to hang up his boots. But I do have a question for you if you're an LAFC fan. What if the answer is putting Carlos Vela as a super sub off the bench? Maybe he can't run 60 to 70 minutes now. Maybe he has to come off the bench. Granted, I'm going to give you an example of 2 different types of players, but the Galaxy did the same thing last year with Dejan Joveljic. Vela's goal against Sporting KC came off the bench. Maybe it works. USC has added Marcellus Williams to the recruit class of 2024. He is a 4-star defensive back from St. John Bosco High. You want to say the Trojans are killing it in recruiting, right? But then they go out and they add another top 100 player to the class of 24. So they're not just killing it. They're killing it, reviving it, and then killing it all over again. The class is now ranked 11th in the nation for 2024. USC had 3 players in the top 100 recruits alone. And it's, by the way, the second in the defensive backfield. So apparently pass defense is getting important. The other one in the top 100, by the way, was Dakota Fields. Williams' older brother Max is already on USC. A day ago, we mentioned how Cooper Kupp's excellence is what kept the Rams wide receiver room from landing in the basement of the Pro Football Focus power rankings. Well, let me tell you, if you thought Kupp rescued the receivers from the wrath of analytics nerds, let me introduce you to Aaron Donald and what he means to the Rams' D-line. PFF, or POOF, ranked the Rams as the #1 defensive line last season. They're 22nd now, having lost Leonard Floyd, Greg Gaines, A'Shawn Robinson. The bottom line is this: PFF knows the Rams drafted a lot of defensive linemen, but none of them have proven themselves. Simple as that. Sean McVay and his wife are expecting a baby boy, which is nice, but I'm starting to wonder if all that happy talk about kids and a family has led him to happy talk his own team a little too much. Over the weekend, we discussed how high he was on Cam Akers, a running back. Then he turns around, tells Sports Illustrated the same damn things about backup running back Kyren Williams. So my question for you is Sean McVay now guilty of drinking a little too much opium? We haven't seen an actual game for a couple of months, but is he? You let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about who Chris Paul might go, where Chris Paul might go. The Clippers, the Lakers, a third team. Tell me what you think is the issue with the Dodgers. And if you enjoyed talking LA sports, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Porta El Queso production. Take care.